Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Ango show. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about AEW Dynamite tonight. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it has to be negative, but we got to talk about it because you guys have been watching my reviews this year. You all noticed that things have been looking good for AEW this year. I've been relatively positive about AEW this year. Damn, it just seems like when things go well, they got to find a way to hurt themselves in the process. I honestly didn't even want to stream because I feel like the negativity is just so... It's like doom and gloom, bro. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but what I decided to do was bring a friend of the channel. It's been a while since we've seen him, so let's bring him in here. I feel like this would actually be a very good conversation because Billy TKO has had conversations with me for years, and I feel like I've said for a while this was going to happen. So with that being said, Billy, welcome to the show. You are
Thank you, brother.
First and foremost, man, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Looking a little bit different these days.
Yeah, dude. Shave. Got the long earrings in. The hair's longer. Things are happening, man. Yeah.
Crazy. Bro, tonight we got AEW Dynamite. I believe it was in Virginia. Starts off, they do this whole thing with Samoa Joe and Swerve going through the table. We get some very cool stuff between Adam Copeland and Penta. And they put up the countdown to the Young Bucks, 20 minutes. And I'm like, oh, wow, they're going to show us the footage.
Yeah.
And this is where I think the show completely lost everything. And I want to talk about it because there's two instances tonight where I feel like AEW has completely come across as an insecure company.
Yeah.
As a company that is not focused.
Mm-hmm.
And as a company that I think genuinely has no idea what they're doing. The first part of that is the CM Punk AEW All-In footage. Now, for those who don't know, I did make a video on this already on More Ango. I could probably talk about this for 2 hours.
It's one maybe of those topics, dude. It's one of those topics.
It's absolutely crazy. Billy, first, let me just ask you, what's your overall reaction to this?
So everybody on this channel, they know I'm a Punk guy. Been a Punk guy for a long time. My overall reaction to this is, what the fuck are we doing? Because I was an AEW guy for a long time as well. You know what I'm saying? We've like you said in the beginning, we've had numerous conversations about this before. This is not something that's new. It's not something that's just popping up out of the blue. No, I was a huge AEW fan. Boom, boom, boom. Hold on one second. Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what I will say is that even though everything with AEW has happened, I just feel like this makes this company look horrible right now. I just don't think they know where they are. I don't think they know where their head's at. I don't want to make this an AEW shit fest, but that's just what it's got to be right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tonight was atrocious. It was absolutely atrocious, including the Will Ospreay thing. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, to air something that was literally just already there in the first place. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the guy said it. He was like, yeah, this is what happened, and that's what they showed you. So I don't know what it accomplished or what it did. I think it just made Tony Khan in general look really bad.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's kind of like the premise. And I posted this tweet out, which I'm curious to hear how you're going to react to this. But I put out a tweet and I basically said people are going to sit and debate who's in the right or wrong all day about CM Punk and Jack Perry. But I can tell you that for certain, all these issues can be prevented when you work for a leader that you respect. Absolutely. Whether you want to admit it or not, both of those guys did not respect Tony Khan. And at the end of the day, everything that happens in the workplace falls on the boss. What is your reaction to that?
Yeah, no, that's a true fact. I mean, you and I both know we've worked in the work field. We know what it's like, right? Your boss, everything starts with your boss. If you have a good boss, then the company's probably going to run smoothly, right?
Yeah.
Now, I look at, I'm not going to say who, but we all know who ran WWE before. Let's be honest. I never really heard up until obviously everything that's happened, but you never heard anything of these lines being crossed backstage. At least I didn't. And if it has happened out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but I personally have not. So I think to myself, well, why is it happening here? Well, let's be real here. And I'll be the one to say it because I don't even care. Tony Khan is a fan. That's what he is. He's a fan. That's how I view it. And when you have a fan running a wrestling show, yes, you can put on great wrestling matches and we get all those dream wrestling matches and whatnot. But here we are. You know what I mean? This is where we're at.
Yeah.
But no, I would love to get your thoughts as well, though, man, because I am interested to hear what you think about this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not a good look for AEW when you have fans posting cell phone footage of fans literally chanting CM Punk while the footage is airing.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, Ariel Helwani, Patrick the Heel, there's a couple other Twitter accounts that posted it, but they posted CM Punk's comments word for word, not out of context, but word for word from his interview on top of the footage. And it literally syncs like this, like perfectly.
I did see that. I retweeted it.
For me, here's how I look at it. And it goes back to my tweet. Because again, people will sit here and say Jack Perry and Punk. Look, Punk said, he walks up to him. They have this conversation about why are you doing this internet shit? And you just see them talking, right?
Yeah.
Punk says in the thing, Jack Perry tells him, do something about it. And you see CM Punk lunge forward, push him, grab him in a chokehold, last maybe 10, not even 10 seconds. Like it gets dropped. He's pissed. Samoa Joe's pushing or holding back Jack Perry. Looks like Chris Hero and Jerry Lynn are holding back Punk. Punk lunges forward to the computer monitor where Tony Khan is, says something, and he's walking away. To me, when I see this, I'm thinking, okay, first of all, there is no excuse, by the way, for Punk choking a coworker, and there's no excuse for Jack Perry instigating the situation, right? Now, this footage did not have anything audio-wise. So word for word, what do they say? I don't know. We have to take Punk's word for it. But in my opinion, when I look at this footage, I think the biggest problem is Tony Khan, because there's two things. One, these guys have been talking for 40 seconds before Punk even lunges forward. So you're telling me for a good 40 seconds, these guys are talking, and people know that there's well-documented issues. And this is after Jack Perry has a match and takes a shot on TV at CM Punk. You're telling me all those individuals backstage, not one person thought, let me grab these guys and separate them. Not once.
Because my thought process behind that is the conversation was loud. Any kind of argument is normally loud. So that means all those people who were standing there heard it. Why aren't we doing anything about it instantly? It should have never gotten to that point.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the first thing I noticed. But then the second thing too, and this is where I just feel like this is where it truly falls on Tony Khan. Tony Khan said that he feared for his life. Tony Khan fired CM Punk for this. And again, I'm not justifying the behaviors of anybody involved, but what I'm thinking is, why did this even happen in the first place?
Exactly.
And deep down inside, I truly believe I come from a workplace of 10 years. I was a leader. I knew when my employees respected me, and I know when they didn't. When they didn't show up to work on time early and I didn't write them up for it, guess what? They didn't respect me. Okay? I know when you are being respected as a leader, and I know when you're not. And more often than not, by the way, it's just how it is with human beings in general.
Yeah.
You are going to try and get away with anything and everything possible at a job as much as you can. If they give you an A, you try to take a yard, right? And when I see Tony Khan in this situation, I cannot help but think that Tony Khan has no idea what he's doing as a leader. Now, to be fair to Tony Khan, They are doing the biggest stadium show, the biggest thing ever for AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe Tony Khan was just pulled in different directions. I don't know what the excuse is for Tony Khan, but it was unacceptable.
Can I say something? You know who I genuinely, thinking about this situation, who I feel bad for? All the talent involved.
Yeah, 100%.
I looked at a video on Twitter, and it was a Tony Schiavone when Excalibur was talking about the situation.
I noticed it in real time. I noticed it. I was like, this guy is not happy about this.
It almost, I mean, imagine being that guy, right? We'll just use Tony Schiavone as this one example. Imagine being this guy who is reliving almost the same situation, just in a different year and a different time. I'm not, obviously, they're two different companies and whatnot, but just thinking about that, man, it's absolutely insane.
You know, I feel really sad for the talent.
Mm-hmm.
I feel really sad for Tony Schiavone having to sit there because now the footage exists of him sitting at commentary looking like he hates his job.
Yeah.
Also looks like he's disappointed in the company he works for, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I really, really feel bad for the fans of AEW. And I'm talking about I'm talking like the hardcore fans that genuinely made excuses for them. I'm talking about the guys like Billy TKO who would make excuses for them years ago when I would tell Billy, and I remember this, and I feel bad because honestly, it's like this is the stuff I called out and people think it's a tribalism thing, but it's very real. I always say the drama is going to hurt them in different ways. Their own audience will turn on them in different ways. And when you book for this hardcore audience, you have to be very careful with the way you move. And now we saw them do this to CM Punk, and CM Punk is the one that everybody is supporting in the process.
So I'm here to tell you the reason why that is because of who CM Punk is. We think about the pipe bomb and you think about the voice of the voiceless. You're asking a audience who has loved CM Punk for many, many years through all his wrongs, all his rights, everything. You are asking them to turn on him.
Yeah.
They were never going to turn on him. There was never a shot.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to everybody. And by the way, talking about the conversations, we had those conversations many years ago. I want to say during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Those were conversations that we would sit and have, and you were noticing little tidbit things that I wasn't able to pick up on right away. And I've came to you numerous times. Think about this. How many times I've came to you and been like, bro, like you were right.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy? I remember specifically having a conversation with you about creating division in your company.
Yeah.
And the premise of the conversation started because there was a report that came out very early on that the EVPs were given, they lost creative control. Meaning this. Tony Khan took over creative control after 6 months. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying, hey, the thing is, a lot of these reports have a narrative that makes somebody look bad. At first, it would make Cody look bad. Then it would make the Bucks look bad. And I was like, well, when you have this very hardcore audience and all these guys are EVPs, and then there's reports coming out, it's creating division between everybody. Yeah. And then the audience is now divided. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because anytime you see a negative report around AEW, this is where I'm starting to realize very quickly that the divisiveness is actually detrimental to them. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that they've made, especially in tonight's episode, was that they utilize this footage as a way to push a storyline going into Dynasty, right?
Yeah. Yep. They use the FTR situation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a clever way of doing it. Like the Bucks were saying, oh, like FTR had CM Punk do this or whatever. Like this was a way to throw them off their game for the night.
Yeah,
it was logical. It did make sense.
Yes.
But I want to point out, though, this match, just so everybody's aware, FTR versus Young Bucks 4, it's going to be a fantastic match. You didn't need to do this to get me excited about that because guess what? You actually made me less excited about it. You made me less excited about your product moving forward. You actually accomplished the opposite. And the thing is, this is not a WWE versus AEW thing. This is an AEW versus AEW thing. And I really want to make that very clear for the future because I do sincerely mean this. AEW is not focused on AEW. And AEW's biggest battle is not being focused on themselves.
They got all their focus in the wrong place right now.
The focus is in the wrong place. Billy, I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yes.
But I have been live, and I have been talking about Dynamite, and I have been saying that this year continues to be just like 2021. Like AEW is back. The feeling is back. And I can't imagine how many times this has happened now in the last 4 years where things are going well, and then AEW has to piss me off or do something to make me no longer be a fan for a little bit.
Exactly. So
you're pushing your audience away.
I look at I look at the last month. We'll just take it back a month ago. AEW, some of the best TV I had seen from them in such a long time. Swerve, Hangman, Samoa Joe, loved it. There were some things that I wasn't a big fan of. You bring in Okada, you bring in Mercedes. Like, there's so many good things happening inside of AEW right now.
Yeah.
And then to have this, something that happened months ago. Now, one thing that I keep alluding to I don't understand why this happened. Now, the thing about it is AEW is a company. It is a company. It's not a person. It's a company. Yeah. CM Punk went onto a podcast and was asked questions. He was asked questions about said topic. He just so happened to not try beating around. He tried a little bit beating around the bush, obviously, with the NDA stuff, with All Out and whatnot. But he was asked questions and answered them. And he even said it. You know, Tony's a great guy, blah, blah, blah. He's just not a good boss.
Yeah.
Tony just did everything that what CM Punk said, Tony just did and proved that point. I don't know, man. It's something, you know.
Very, very, very sad day for them. And I do want to point out too, it's like I look at pros and cons of everything, right?
Yeah.
I just feel like there's way more cons here than pros. And, you know, I want to say too, to Tony Khan, it's like, you know, and this is just not, like I said, the start of AEW tonight, I was like, fuck, this is great, you know? Yeah. So it's like, why get away from what's making you good? Why get away from what's making you special? And then I have to point this out too, because with the AEW All-In footage, my expectations versus reality were completely different. So I was under the assumption, based on some things that I've heard and some things I have seen, and just knowing that Punk has always been a problem in professional wrestling, always, whether people want to admit it or not, he is.
He's a great topic.
I truly believe that Punk was a liar. I actually thought, I was like, oh my God, Punk is spinning this. And then I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, Punk probably got his ass kicked, to be honest. Now, to be fair, the reason why I thought that initially was because Punk didn't really fare too well in a legitimate fight in the UFC. Just being honest. No. I'm not saying I'm giving Jungle Boy credit for being strong or not, but what I am saying is that I didn't expect Punk to beat him up. Then I watched the footage and I'm like, Punk, just like he said in the interview,
did what he said.
He did what he said. I didn't see a closed fist punch. I didn't see anything like that. I saw him lunge forward for a push, put him in a choke. Within like 10 seconds, he got out of it, or, you know, pushed or gave up. I don't know. The thing that was interesting to me was where did Tony Khan, you know, fear for his life? And what was really funny, not funny, but unfortunate, maybe actually fortunate. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, other than when I was watching that clip and I see Punk like lunge a little bit forward at Tony Khan, I can reenact that as somebody. Like, if you were pissed, you'd be like, hey, what the, like, I told you to take care of this and you're not taking care of, you know?
Yeah.
So when I see
reaction.
When I see that, I think that's the most, you know, to me, it was like, wow, this is actually a lot of like what CM Punk actually said it was. So I expected Punk to lie 100%. I expected it to be a situation where Punk actually got embarrassed in the fight. That didn't happen. But I also expected it to be a thing where, like, this was more than a little scuffle. And this was like a little high school locker room scuffle, in my opinion.
Yeah, normal thing happening there.
And it doesn't end at that. There was something else that happened tonight on Dynamite where I think it was just like, this is where AEW is starting to drop the ball a little bit. I did want to read, there was a couple super chats, and I don't want to push them off to the side too much. Westside Smiley dropping a $4.99. I can't believe AEW thought this would be a good idea. Punk is in WWE. Stop worrying about him. AEW took a big L. Billy, let me ask you about this.
Yeah.
Because the general consensus online is that people feel like Drew McIntyre is probably going to make more money from this than AEW. I honestly think maybe I'm wrong here, so you tell me how you feel. But I feel like AEW kind of set this expectation for me to actually get more excited about their competitor, because when Drew McIntyre cuts a promo on Monday, everybody's going to wait and see what he has to say. Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree. I can't even sit here and try and make any kind of argument, because I'm just as excited for Monday for this, because thinking of Drew McIntyre and everything, how he's utilized Twitter to his advantage.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Smiley, you're absolutely right. Punk's in WWE. Worry about your own show.
I don't know who posted. Maybe it was Cedric Alexander.
Was it the Dave?
Yes, the Dave Chappelle clip.
Yeah.
Okay.
I retweeted it.
Okay, yeah. So Cedric Alexander responded to this. Punk responded to this with the post, the image of George W. Bush on Mission accomplished thing. There's some irony there. That's why Punk posted it. But yeah, this is I feel like a lot of people publicly have looked at this as like a loss for AEW. So I don't feel like I'm really saying an unpopular opinion here. I think I'm speaking with a little bit more maturity on this. And trust me, there will be more to be said. But Westside Smiley, I think the first sentence that you say, or the first part, is, I can't believe AEW thought this would be a good idea. And Tony Khan, unfortunately, AEW had a terrible news week. PR-wise, between Punk on Ariel Helwani, Triple H, and Pat McAfee making comments this weekend on WWE World, it just seems like a lot of the talk was doom and gloom for AEW, and this was AEW's way of getting people to hopefully talk negatively about Punk, and in the process get ratings. And I think for both of those, I don't think they've accomplished anything. So I don't think it was a good idea. I definitely agree with that. And I think that's the main takeaway that I have, is this didn't do anything for them, probably won't do anything for them, and therefore get back on track, because you completely lost the plot.
Yep. I think you said it best.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think you said it best about FTR and the Young Bucks. It didn't need all this. That was just my one little tidbit that I had.
Yeah, for sure. Westside Smiley, thank you for the super chat. Tattoo Nick dropping $9.99. He says, I love AEW, but this was hard to watch. They really need help. I don't even know how they will pull off a PLE from tonight's show. Insecure is an understatement. And that's the word I keep using, is insecure. Because there was something else that happened tonight where I was like, damn, this company is just not focused. And, the reality is, if I say anything negative and if I speak out about this, right? Because surely people had to know that I would talk about this, right? It's my job to talk about wrestling. But where is the positive in this? There is not one person, not one content creator, not one media account, not one company, Tony Khan, CM Punk, not one person could point me into a positive direction from anything that came from this. There's nothing positive that has come to this. And so if you expected me to be the only person in this world to say something positive about this at a time where I've been thoroughly enjoying AEW, then I don't think you truly understand the content creator you are watching. Because in order to be 100% real and authentic, I have to tell you the truth. Billy, you said something earlier that was interesting. You brought up Vince.
Yeah.
When Vince ran WWE, Vince had bad backstage morale. Several times there was reports of people being upset because of changing the shows, the scripts. He's not very easy to talk to, this and that. Obviously, Vince has got other stuff going on right now with the allegations. But if you're just focusing on that specific topic, Vince was not somebody people enjoyed working for. And the difference when Tony Khan came around, and this is really what changed pro wrestling, and it probably gave AEW the best advantage starting off, was, hey, there's a billionaire that people genuinely enjoy working for. A billionaire that people genuinely enjoy working for. And that's a real leader. And he was going to be different.
Oh, I remember these conversations.
These topics are not apples to apples. They're not apples to apples comparisons. But what needs to be said here is that Tattoo Nick loves AEW. He loves AEW, and he watched this and truly understands that this is not good for AEW. And I think what people need to understand is that you can love something, but still at the same time too, let it be known that it is unacceptable, because at the end of the day, when you turn your back on your own audience and you start to divide your audience and you start to push your audience away, the reality is they are never coming back. And we are teeter-tottering every single time there's drama. Brawl out, All In, Cody leaving, EVP's losing creative control. We are teeter-tottering on whether or not AEW will last or not.
Mm-hmm.
And what that comes down to is the fact that fans truly have no faith in the guy who is running it. Because if this was WWE, if this was Triple H today, right? And this is the truth. If there was a backstage fight with Triple H in Power, do you think Triple H is the one making the decision? No. The WWE has several top brass in the position to, one, make sure that whoever's involved is either fired or suspended. And two, I think the reason why you don't hear of backstage fights in WWE is because people don't want to get suspended. You get suspended, you don't get paid. People don't want to get fired. Why? Because if you get fired, you don't have a job. So I think people have a little bit more fear in that company. They respect their powers a little bit more. And I think with AEW, that is something that is seriously lacking. So insecure company, it could cost them a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tattoo Nick, thank you for the $9.99. Armando O dropping a $2 super chat. Punk got his name chanted same week by two companies. Yeah, you know, it's true. Punk.
Yeah, he did.
Like I said, everybody has expectations. Billy, what was your expectation when you saw the interview with Ariel Helwani? What did you think? Like, okay, you see the interview with Ariel Helwani, then you find out AEW is going to show the footage. Kind of just give me an idea of what
reaction.
Yeah,
the reaction. So my instant reaction to that is Punk's not lying. Because you see the interview, and I just think, because you had heard him in the interview say it like, oh, I might have messed up.
Yeah.
He said it like live. And then to find out like, oh, they're about to air it. I knew instantly in my heart. I said, no, this is bait. That's what this is. They are trying to bait these people, because a lot of people figured it would be some what was it? It was like a parody thing, or they would make like a joke about it or something along those lines. And then obviously they never actually said what it was. And then people started coming out saying, oh, well, it doesn't matter, because regardless of the fact, they're still going to look bad. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a very weird situation, but my instant reaction was, hey, I think this is AEW just trying to look for a grab of something, whether it be Twitter or ratings. That was my instant reaction.
Yeah.
They knew they messed up.
Do you think Tony Khan feared for his life?
No. He feared for his life probably is about as much as I did when I heard about it.
You know, it's the one thing I will say is when Punk said in the interview that he was like being slandered and stuff, he felt like they were spreading this narrative. I always heard rumblings that the Young Bucks and Hangman and Kenny and all these guys were sending stuff to Dave Meltzer, trying to post, you know, these narratives and stuff. And I never believed it. I was like, hey, I don't believe it. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they did, but I will say that when you go back and look retrospectively, if you look back at the reports, I think there was definitely somebody in that company posting and spreading false narratives.
Absolutely.
Because even when you look at All In and the reports that were about All In and the fight, you would have thought that they had an extreme brawl backstage. And again, I just keep going back to saying it seemed like a little scuffle at a high school locker room.
I made a joke on Twitter. I said, you know, Tony, just post all out footage. It was a joke, by the way. I don't want them to post any more footage.
I will tell you right now, the all out footage or the all out fight, I do not believe now. 1000%.
I do not either. I do not.
I don't
either.
believe it went down at all the way people said. The only thing I do agree was that Kenny Omega probably did nothing because Kenny Omega is an angel surrounded by idiots. I love Kenny.
Kenny Omega's amazing. He's amazing.
I love Kenny Omega. Really do.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have a very hard time believing that there's a bad bone in his body. But
yeah, no, he's not.
Armando, thank you for the super chat. Cam Johnson dropping a $5 super chat. Honestly, I feel bad for the roster and fans. This proves Punk was right on the leadership. It proves Punk was right on the leadership, but it proves what I said for the last 5 years, that AEW has a leadership problem. And the thing with Punk, the thing with Tony Khan that really bothered me more than anything was people are forgetting the aspect of Tony Khan going live on the screen, on the big screen, and telling people that he had to fire CM Punk. He feared for his life. And when I see that footage and I think back to that moment, I honestly really thought Punk probably did something crazy in order for that to happen. Mm-hmm. And what I see is a owner and a leader who is a huge wrestling fan. He knows what his audience is looking for. He's a very intelligent person. I also look at it from a perspective of this guy really has no idea. People building, working with different personalities. I see flaws in his leadership style where I think, even if you don't know how to handle something, you got to have people there. And he fired CM Punk. And I look at Tony Khan in that video and he's pretty much non-existent.
I do want to say something about this whole situation. They talk about the leadership. Now, one thing that Punk mentioned in Ariel Helwani's, and I might bash Punk a little bit here myself.
Yeah.
One thing that he mentioned in that interview was that he felt like he did the right thing.
100%, it was the wrong thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to go out and say that, you did. So I will say this, that nobody in this situation, including CM Punk, was right. Everybody here was wrong.
100%.
That's the one thing that I take from this. There was absolutely, on any side, there was no leadership.
No, 100%. Nobody. What I'm learning, and this is a thing. I can't speak for it on the WWE side of things because we don't get these types of reports. Mm-hmm. WWE is not showing us the footage of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre backstage, right? Mm-hmm. But AEW showed us this footage, and what I would say is the key word that I look at is accountability. Yes. And when you look at CM Punk's interview, he's not being accountable for his actions.
Nope.
He actually laughs it off a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In a way, it kind of comes across as he's laughing it off, like it's not that serious.
Now, can I ask you a quick question real fast about that? If somebody else isn't taking accountability, isn't it kind of hard for said person to take accountability?
Yes, 100%. Okay. So this is it. Thank you for asking the question because it goes back to the all-in situation. Mm-hmm. So when you hear of Hangman Page going into business for himself, when you hear about the Elite and the Young Bucks not having a conversation with Punk, and Punk doesn't want to talk to Colt Cabana without lawyers, right, and all of these different things, right? There's all these different things that are being said. To me, it is very hard to be accountable for anything when you don't have people willing to have a conversation in the first place. That's where leadership is a problem, right? Mm-hmm. So in my opinion, I'm looking at EVPs and I'm looking at Tony Khan because they are leaders.
Yep.
Tony Khan has other leaders in his company. He has people appointed in leadership roles. And I'm looking at this from a perspective that nobody was able to talk to anybody. No. Clearly, there was a communication issue in this company. Now, just so people are aware, how did I come to this conclusion that there's a communication issue in AEW? Ango doesn't work in AEW. How would Ango know this? Well, I'm not going off of reports. I'm not going off Dave Meltzer or Sean. There's been wrestlers who worked in AEW who left AEW and said very specifically that they've had communication issues with the brass at AEW. Okay. Most recently, the Tate boys, the Dalton Castle's boys literally got fired, and Tony Khan publicly says that they no-showed their shows. They show screenshots of text messages with somebody from AEW, and it looks like that person from AEW did not communicate properly.
It goes down to the simple thought of, I'm so sorry to cut you off, but the Wembley thing with Punk in the car.
Yes.
Not being able to get to the show.
And so when I see communication issues, and Chavo Guerrero specifically talking about communication issues with the company, I think it's a fair evaluation that I'm making, right? I think the intent is pretty clear. There's people who have said it. And again, these aren't reports, but these are the things I'm seeing from a public perception. And I come to the conclusion that there is a communication issue in this company. How can Punk be accountable for anything when nobody else is? How can Punk communicate or fix issues with anybody in AEW when nobody wants to go to the table and have communication? And again, at the end of the day, you know whose responsibility it is? It's Tony Khan's. And I understand for Tony Khan, it is probably very hard today. Going on social media right now, watching videos, I'm sure if he's hearing his favorite content creators, if Tony Khan were listening to this, I'm sure it's not easy to hear this, because Tony Khan, I give him a lot of credit for what he's done. But at the same token, I have to make it very clear. The communication breakdown between Tony Khan and his team and his people, it's an issue. And at the end of the day, when I look at CM Punk having this issue with Jack Perry, the first thing, if I was sitting there at the monitor and I look up and I see them, I would not allow that. And I would say, hey, guys, we can have a conversation together after the pay-per-view. But right now, we got to take care of this. Simple conversation. Because guess what? Communication is everything.
Communication's key, man. It really is. I was explaining this situation to my mother tonight and telling her everything that kind of happened, because my mom, she tries to like stay in the loop of wrestling with me. I was explaining the situation to her, and I was telling her about it. And I was just saying how I felt like AEW with all of these situations missed out on so much money.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You want to make money off of this now in 2024. And I'm sorry, bro. Listen, I'm so tired of fucking listening to the internet tell me what I have to say or think, because it's a popular opinion or not. But I look at this from the perspective of, this is a company. I've gone to several of their shows. I've had an amazing experience for their shows. And now all of a sudden you're killing your own fucking company for what?
Exactly. For what? Why are we doing it?
Cameron Johnson, thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you. Finn Young dropping a $4.99. AEW is starting to copyright people who got the footage. Yes, that is true. I see that on Twitter. I haven't seen it on YouTube just yet. But on X, several large accounts, wrestling covers, so many others have been struck down by Tony Khan's AEW company. Now, in the past, I don't know how it is today, but in the past, there have been times where copyright strikes were automated or glitched. I don't know if that applies today, but I'm going to assume that right now, Tony Khan and AEW are not happy with the narrative that's currently out there.
I don't know what he thought was going to happen here.
You didn't think at all, brother.
I'm still confused on that.
He didn't think at all. I mean, look, the Jacksonville Jaguars, not a good football team. The Fulham Football Club, not a good football team, but I do like one of some of their players on their team, but they're not a good football club. AEW is, in my opinion, a good wrestling promotion. Not great, but they're good.
They do.
I think Tony Khan is a billionaire who benefits, thankfully from his dad. He got that. Let's call it what it is. You know what I mean? He's pretty much inherited a lot of. I'm not saying he didn't work for his success or didn't get any success on his own, but
Pops definitely helped.
Pops gave him a huge advantage in this world, and I think at the end of the day, Tony Khan does not know how to handle a wrestling locker room, and the reality is it's detrimental to their company, because you have their most hardcore fans chanting for CM Punk at a time where the intent was to embarrass CM Punk. Exactly. And for what? TV ratings for 1 week? Which, by the way, you know what my real issue is with this? It's the funniest thing. My real issue that I have here is that it's a slap in the face to Mercedes. It's a slap in the face to your women's division. It's a slap in the face to Okada. It's a slap in the face to Pac. It's a slap in the face to Adam Copeland. And it's a slap in the face to all of the people backstage who are friends with CM Punk. Because instead of focusing on these individuals and trying to make these people be presented in the best possible light, you are now making it about somebody who doesn't even work for you anymore.
I will tell you that FT are the people that I feel most bad for being put in this situation when they are very close with CM Punk. And we've seen it numerous times on social media. I can almost guarantee that they are still that close. Those are the two people that I feel bad for. Of course, again, everybody that you said who's friends with them. But I think them being put in the middle of this and having to go out there and talk about that, horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
And like I said, the beginning of the show, like everything was so fire. Like Adam Copeland and Penta. Oh my God. Edge was like being a luchador. And I was like, this is good. Like they're keeping this shit up and they're having good shows.
Penta's amazing. Those are great wrestlers.
Yeah. So I was disappointed with that after, but yeah, Finn, thank you for the super chat. It is true. People are getting copyright striked. They don't like the narrative out there. I think Tony Khan is probably scratching his head saying, fuck, I probably shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, you got to live and learn. I believe you have to live and learn. And if AEW doesn't learn from this is going to be a big blow to the company. But if they don't learn from this, I would go as far as saying that this company will not last. And that's weird to think, but I do think if you don't learn from your mistakes, these are big mistakes. These aren't little tiny mistakes. These are the types of mistakes where you start alienating your audience a little bit.
Exactly. This is the ones where it doesn't necessarily you're cracking the mold.
Yeah.
You're cracking the mold here.
Yeah. Finn, thank you for the super chat. Jarhead $4.99. AEW had so much potential. They have no structure. Yeah, I mean, this is basically falling in line of what we're saying. And I think the reality is you just got to learn from your mistakes. This is a big one. This is probably the biggest one, the most catastrophic one, honestly. Not to be all doom and gloom, but the reality here is that when Cody Rhodes leaves the company and goes to WWE, it sucks and it's a blow, but eventually you figure it out.
Can I tell you that Cody did that like a leader too? He left the company like a leader. And you could tell things start falling apart and communication issues start happening. Why? But it was well documented that people had no issue going to Cody and Brandy. So you start to realize cliques very much exist in AEW backstage, clearly. Yep.
And I think that's basically the issue is I hate saying this because this is what the tribalists do. They say this a lot, but they call it all friends wrestling. And I always hated that. I fucking always genuinely hated that because I'm like, oh, that's such a bullshit ass thing to say. People are going to have to put their friendships to the side when it comes to work, business over everything. But clearly that does seem.
We're seeing it firsthand.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing it firsthand.
Yes, it sucks.
Jarhead $4.99. Thank you so much for that, brother. Dwayne Jackson dropping a 50 bomb. Boom. AEW will always be the company they can't get it right. AEW just validated everything Punk said about TK. AEW embarrassed their entire talent. TK is becoming the person he hates the most, Vince. TK has a habit of playing victim. And there has been a lot of times where I've pointed specific examples of Tony Khan doing things that he said he would never do. Releasing talent, he did it. Budget cuts, he did it. Holding talent who don't want to be there under contract, he did it. There was a lot of circumstances or situations that I have seen where Tony Khan has gone back on his word. In the very early stages of AEW, we were all to believe that AEW would have, like a union type of thing. And that never happened. And again, I cannot understate this at all. I have to make it very clear. If there is no AEW, WWE is absolutely garbage. If there is no AEW, this industry is dead. And if there is no AEW, honest to God, I don't know if I'd be doing this full time because my growth on YouTube in the past 5 years largely came to the idea that I was covering AEW before they ever went on TV. So,
dude, nobody understands how thankful I am for AEW in a whole.
Like, there's a lot of good reasons why we need this company. And that's why just because I need it and I want it to, I think that makes me even feel more incentivized to be open and honest about my feelings.
Yeah.
And creatively, this year has been so good.
Totally.
And then today happens. And guys, we didn't even get to Will Ospreay yet.
No.
So wait till we get to that because now we're not talking about one whammy tonight. We're talking about two. And to me, it just seems like TK, honestly, he dropped the ball hard. And to me, I think Dwayne says it best. AEW validated everything Punk said about TK. You wanted physical proof that TK couldn't be a leader.
It was handed to you on a silver platter tonight, folks.
They wanted to show it to you. Yep. And again, let me just really clarify. Punk does not look like an angel. No. Punk is not he's not an angel here. But I can't sit here and blame Jack Perry and Punk for two guys having an altercation. If listen, if I'm out and about and let's say I play a team sport and I got a team with me, we might ruffle each other's feathers. We might bump heads a little bit. We might push and shove, right? But guess what? Dap them up. It's over. We're back on the fucking winning team. Let's go win.
We're a team here.
And there is no team camaraderie there in that company. Mm-mm. And again, it comes down to leadership. So I need to make that very clear. I don't want to make it sound like I love CM Punk. I'm not making it look like I love Jack Perry. They're both dumbasses in this situation. But this was like a high school scuffle in a locker room. And the reality is AEW deliberately said, we're going to show you guys this footage. And they might not even get good ratings. So what's the purpose, No, there's no purpose, man. I mean, this was a shit show tonight. There is no other way about going about this. Crazy. Dwayne
didn't even talk about the main event either.
Yeah. Dwayne Jackson, $50 super chat. Thank you so much, bro. Appreciate it. PFP MMA, one of my favorites. $1.99. He says that Mickey Mouse promoter is such a child.
Yeah. No, it's true.
I mean, I think you guys notice that if you look at all of these super chats, almost all of them fall on leadership.
Mm-hmm. Every single one of them. Everything that is coming back. It's not even coming back to the Young Bucks. It's coming back to Tony.
I think it actually set the Young Bucks up for failure here because they're in character. 100%. When they're doing this in character. They're playing heel personas.
Right.
Some fans have a hard time distinguishing the difference between being a heel and a babyface.
Right.
Or being a character and not being a character. But at the end of the day, they're being
thing you can do.
Yeah, they're heel characters and they have a well-documented history, and it is what it is. To me, I thought it was absolutely funny that the Young Bucks were put in that position because these guys I love their characters personally. I feel like this year has been a fresh breath of fresh air for them.
I thought it was cool playing into the EVP persona and stuff like that. Yeah, I love it.
But I think it set them up for failure here because now people are pissed off at the Young Bucks. And I don't know if they were the ones to do it, but the thing that people need to know, especially about Tony Khan, the way to look at it, it's actually quite simple. He was asked about this at the media scrum, and he ain't giving people comments. So Tony Khan should have been a leader and put his foot down and answered the questions and talked about this and addressed this. But when he's being interviewed by Sports Illustrated or some of these other media outlets, and he's like, oh, well, it's going to drum up interest for AEW Dynasty because it's got this, and this. We're trying to, bro, just tell us you don't know what you're doing.
That's it. And tell me.
And by the way, I'm not a wrestling promoter, but I used to be a leader, and I was responsible at a time for a company to make millions of dollars per month. And at the end of the day, I think one thing is I was never really groomed for leadership. Mm-hmm. I worked under some great leaders. My perspective just comes from having common sense, right?
It's not hard.
I'm not asking Tony Khan to do anything crazy. I'm just asking to use a little bit of common sense and to address the issues with your locker room and if you don't know how to handle things in particular, then go and bring people in because you are a billionaire. Don't fucking brag about how much money you got. Put your money where your mouth is. Go hire a group of leaders that have dealt with diverse groups of people and bring them together and show people that you can have a very well self-oiled, self-ran machine backstage. Because at the end of the day, that's what Ari Emanuel has in place at WWE and at UFC.
Yep. Yes, sir. Very brilliant, man. Very brilliant, man.
PFP MMA, thank you for the super chat, dog. Appreciate you. Westside Smiley dropping another one for $4.99. I stopped watching when they failed to make Wardlow a big star. AEW's existence helps make WWE better. Tony needs to make big stars and focus on that. You know, the thing is, it's not even about building big stars because they're signing big stars, which is what makes it even more crazy and more interesting. I do agree that Wardlow completely flopped under their leadership, but I do also agree that AEW helps make WWE better because that day I'll never forget how stupid Triple H looked. It's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, right? For all the people that love the ratings talk between NXT and AEW, when Triple H said that, the world was on fire for AEW.
Yeah,
because they went head to head.
2019.
And now I will never forget that because AEW, without AEW, you would never have a hungry and fiery, passionate leader in Triple H.
I do not. I agree 100% with that.
And you know, whether you like to admit it or not, Triple H is on fire right now. WWE's got 1 trillion consecutive fucking sellouts. WWE's WrestleMania was the biggest one ever. Cody Rhodes finished the story. Fans are absolutely happy with the product. And yes, Triple H is the guy running the show, but I can tell you for certain, Triple H, it always feels like Triple H took that a little bit sour, knowing that Tony Khan was the new guy coming after their business. And not only did Tony Khan take everybody from Black and Gold NXT, because he did, but in a way, Tony Khan is the reason why Black and Gold NXT died.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony Khan's responsible for that.
Absolutely. And because he saw them going up to the main roster and what was happening to him.
And so because of that, Tony Khan and AEW are needed in this industry.
Absolutely.
They are. I might not agree with everything they do. I might not like all the creative decisions that they make, but it's a good product and it's good to have a second large company. So I just want to make that a very clear point. Westside Smiley, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Jarhead 499 says Tony doesn't know how to separate personal from business. Yeah, for me personally, the way I look at this, and Billy, I'm curious how you feel. When it comes to personal and business, there actually shouldn't be personal at all. I'm actually a big proponent against this. I tell my friends all the time. My friends will get a job in an environment where it's very team based, right? And I tell them all. My cousin told me this the other day. Actually, my cousin literally works at a job where there's 10,000 people inside an office. And he was telling me, he's like, I'm just not a company guy like that. Right. And he's like, sometimes I feel bad because they want me to be this guy. And I'm like, when you go to work, do you show respect to your coworkers? He's like, yeah. I said, when you're in meetings, do you participate? He goes, yeah. I said, at the end of the day, you are doing what is being asked out of you for a team player. Right.
Yep.
Going to company parties, company outings with coworkers, being buddy and texting them outside of work. I said, do you do those things? He's like, no, because I don't like to be with my coworkers like that, you know? And here I am thinking like, I wish more people understood that because that for me is a big thing. When I was a leader, when I had people working under me, they, let's go do team outings and this and that. No, I don't like that because at the end of the day, it is very difficult for people to separate personal from business. And, I don't know, much about Tony Khan, but I think it is safe to assume that Tony Khan is a nice guy.
Oh, we've sometimes
said that. Yes, but it is very easy to walk over nice people. And so that's why it's very difficult for Tony to probably separate personal from business.
Absolutely. It's the easiest thing to do. I think, you're hitting them right on the head, brother. Yeah, no, there is no such thing as personal in a business state. You can't walk into a company and expect things to get personal. No, my mom always told me like this saying, and I'll just use this example. She always told me when you go to work to make money. That's what it is. Let's be real here. That's why everybody gets a job, right? You need to make money.
Yeah.
Thing about it is if you make friends along the lines, cool. It's a good thing, right? If you make friends, it is what it is. But guess what? You don't go there thinking that that's what's going to happen. Punk said it best on that Monday Night Raw following his return. I'm here to make, or what did he say? I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
Yeah.
Boom. And then continued on later on and said, if I make some friends here, it is what it is. Thanks. Appreciate it. But I need to get to where I'm going.
Yeah. 100%. Jarhead, thank you so much for the super chat. That's your second one tonight. I appreciate it. Darth Bane dropping $1.99. AEW right now reminds me of the Russo era of WCW. Yeah.
Can I talk about this for a second?
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
I actually tweeted something, and I seen some people post it in the chat. It does, but it doesn't at the same time. I said something on Twitter. I said, this kind of reminded me of like that finger poke of doom. And I'm not one to compare necessarily the situations because I understand that WCW and AEW are two different companies. Let's make that clear. But it did remind me of that. That finger poke of doom didn't kill WCW. It did not.
No.
What it did was it was a shatter effect. It's like glass shattered everywhere. You've seen the downfall. So how AEW revives from this, I don't know. They have to show me on TV. They have to tell me how they're going to revive from this. They have to, Tony has to do something. But that's what's going to tell me if this is going to remind me of the Russo era of WCW. Because trust me, you will know when the ripple effect starts. This was the start of it. So yeah, no, very interesting situation.
So the way I look at it, honest to God, if I could just be so honest here, I don't think AEW gets out of this.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
I
don't think so. I think it's what I say all the time. If you're driven by negativity and drama and you're putting that out there and you're allowing your fans to consume that negativity, because that's what they've done here. When you establish that your product brings negative feelings, people just don't come back to it. And the reality is they've lost viewers in the past year. They're having a hard time selling tickets in the past year. I forgot who said this, but somebody said this. They said when there's a really, really hot number one, number two will struggle. Yes. And the reality is WWE is incredibly hot. I think naturally AEW will struggle because of that. But now you've gotten to the point where AEW is starting to alienate its own audience. And the only way to get people back is by good creative, because Tony Khan has shown us in the past, he clicks a panic button.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Major announcement. Debut. Yeah. Surprise return.
Throw somebody in there.
And that's how they deal with it. So historically speaking, that was their solutions. When the focus should be on Mercedes, Ospreay, and Okada, not CM Punk.
Yeah.
To me, I don't know if they will ever get out of this. And
that's
quite frankly, too. I'm scared for them.
That's
because
deep
here's the thing.
You.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what people need to realize about this. Coming from you, this is deep.
100%. I would love nothing more than for them to just keep floating and surviving. But I think we will really see the effects of this in 5-6 months. I really do think so. Look, AEW is going to always have their hardcore audience that always supports them. But we've seen that Punk got fired and people left with him.
Now, by the way, Punk said in that interview, he said that this company will never die as long as Tony Khan keeps pumping money into it. Problem is if you lose a big audience, and I think we all have to, and Tony Khan is a businessman at the end of the day, at some point, as time goes on, you lose your pettiness. Right, your pettiness after your competition, like you said, does so well, you start to lose the drive and the will. So, not to say that they're going to, or Tony Khan will, but it is interesting thinking about, once the dust does settle, and maybe Tony loses that passion from all the drama if he does stop pumping money into it.
Whether or not he stops pumping money, he could, right? Yeah. Here's the thing that people need to understand. Tony Khan could keep pumping money into it. What matters for AEW and ROH, for the sake that they live on, is getting a good TV deal and not pissing off your TV partners, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, when does Warner Bros. Discovery come in and say, hey, now you're showing footage of that? Like, this shit's like, hey, no more.
Especially when Warner knows they wanted Punk.
They wanted Punk, right? So to me, it's like, and I get it. Controversy creates cash. Not when you're struggling. Not like this. I do not think they generate.
Not when you're
I don't
down.
think so.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
As far as Darth Bane saying AEW reminds me of the Vince Russo era, the thing is, from a creative perspective, I don't agree with that. But from a perspective of everything else, yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you, Darth. PFP MMA dropping a second super chat of the night. Why the footage? Question mark. You're the best. You're the best. Oh, I am the best. Wow. You're giving the biggest star at the rival company another avenue to prove he's right. And the best part about this super chat is not only does CM Punk, prove that he's not only proven right here, but he's in one of the coolest feuds in WWE television right now. Dude, with Drew McIntyre.
It's amazing.
And so not only is this feud so incredibly entertaining between the two, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, but the whole thing about Drew McIntyre's character is literally everything he's doing on TV is something that never happened in WWE television. Nice. And they've got into the sweet point where Drew McIntyre is now turned all of those images and sayings and quotes into t-shirts, which is now generating revenue for WWE. So not only are you giving the biggest star at the rival company another avenue to prove he's right, but now you're giving the biggest star at the rival company and his opponents the opportunity to make some serious money out of this.
Absolutely.
Mind-boggling to me. I'm not a fucking billionaire. And the fact that I'm not a billionaire and I understand this is fucking crazy to me, to understand that there is a billionaire out there who will have more opportunities in this life than I will ever have.
Yeah.
And you can't seem to figure that out. And honestly, more than anything, it's just embarrassing. Not for Punk, but it's embarrassing for AEW. Crazy.
Very.
Crazy. Why the footage? Billy, have you not noticed almost every super chat, everything in the chat tonight has basically been why? What's the purpose? Like,
I mean, it's the same. I mean, we've ran down this conversation like 30 different ways tonight. And it all leads to the same thing, like you just said, the why.
Crazy. PFP, thank you for the super chat, my boy. Richard Cohn dropping $2 super chat. No comment associated with it. Appreciate it. Rick Corral is dropping $2. Mickey Mouse would have got it right. So that's in response to PFP. Earlier PFP super chat was that Mickey Mouse promoter is such a child. Rick Corral is dropping the Mickey Mouse would have got it right.
That's awesome.
Crazy. Appreciate it, Rick. Appreciate you. Guys, I think we should talk about Will Ospreay.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, my bad. I've been sick for like 7 days. Really bad.
I know. I've seen on Twitter.
Dude, I was like hallucinating the first day, COVID symptoms the next day, the third day, stomach, tummy ache. Bro, it was bad. Shit was crazy. Anyways.
The tummy ache's crazy.
Yeah. Dude, it was nuts. I had every sort of, now I have another symptom. Today, I'm just fucking sick of this shit.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
straight up.
A new symptom.
Thank you, AEW.
This is a whole new symptom. I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. Will Ospreay cuts a promo interview thing with Renee Paquette. And basically just, again, alienating your potential audience, dividing your audience. In the words of tribalism, Will Ospreay takes a shot at Triple H. So basically, for those who missed it, I actually missed it, by the way. Just so everybody is aware, when this happened, I did not know. My boy was texting me. He was like, he was like fucking with me as a joke. He's like, I don't see any of your tweets about Triple H talking about AEW. And I'm like, wait, what? He's like, oh, don't pretend you didn't see them. I'm like, no, I literally have no idea what you're talking about. At WWE World, Triple H this past weekend basically made some comments about talent that have chosen to go to the other place because they want to work less and not necessarily put in the work or the grind to make it to WrestleMania. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing. Not saying it word for word, but that was the premise of Triple H's comments. Today, Will Ospreay says something about a rumor about something that this guy said that he's not willing to do the grind. And then he says something about the guy who said it basically got to his position for grinding on the daughter's boss. Obviously, he is pointing his fingers at Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Billy, what is your response?
Oh, Lord. Will's one of my favorites. Will is genuinely one of my favorites. And he said something else, too. He was like, I've been taking these flights from Europe to the U.S. and back and doing all this. He said that during the promo, too.
Yeah.
My initial thought to this is just, again, why, right? Why do we care so much? I will say this. Again, it goes back to, I don't believe Triple H was right in this scenario either. I think there are things that are better left unsaid. Those are conversations that Will and Triple H had together in private that none of us needed to know about.
So here's the thing: nobody knows what his conversations are
No,
with Will Ospreay.
you're
When
absolutely
he says that, when he made his statement at WWE World, he didn't say anything about a conversation that he had. He was just basically saying that there's people that have decided to go other places because they're not willing to put in the grind. So he never said Will Ospreay's name, nothing like that.
No, my thing to that is what are you trying to do here? Because you know that may ruffle feathers. But now here's this. It's Will Ospreay's fault for thinking that it was about him in just jumping to conclusion. Now you're creating controversy without even knowing if it's really there. You're just assuming that this guy is talking to you. No. Triple H runs a multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar company that takes into account that you're running this company and they could be talking about numerous people, but you've just assumed. So now you're going to hop onto the other show, talk about everything that happened there, just assume it's about you. I don't know. I think it's all stupid. I hate it. Wrestle. Tell good stories. Shut up.
Yeah. Cedric Armad in the chat says, also prove CM Punk right again. LOL, trying to get a pop for that certain audience, which is exactly what I was thinking of. But what I really want to say about the Ospreay situation, as far as Triple H goes, Triple H, he's earned the right to make a comment about anybody in terms of competition. Okay? Just so people are clear, when you're at the top, you have every right to discuss your competition in any way you like. At the end of the day, Triple H's comments reflect on Triple H and the WWE. Now, at the end of the day, it was a petty shot, right? And fans get really annoyed with petty shots. Now, my take on this is pretty simple. I've said this before on social media. I said it again recently on social media. My take is this. The shit talk is fun as fuck.
Love it.
But do it when you are on top, not when you are talking shit from outside the club because you can't get in.
My man's
you
referencing
also,
Chris Brown.
Right? Think about this for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Think about this. Will Ospreay is taking these claims to Triple H and talking shit about Triple H. And Will Ospreay is making these comments. And unfortunately, the company you are working for right now is getting dragged on social media. And already the reaction on social media to the Punk situation and the footage has already been a massive slap in the face to the AEW company. Now Will Ospreay's comments have garnered a level of attention where it looks forced. It looks like you're trying to pop your hardcore audience. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it feels unauthentic.
Absolutely.
Will Ospreay is the best wrestler in the entire industry. Okay? Will Ospreay, and I've said this before, Will Ospreay never gets the credit that he deserves for promos. My favorite promo was the one that he recently did at Wrestle Kingdom. When I see Will Ospreay doing press conferences for New Japan Pro Wrestling, that's the Will Ospreay I want to see in AEW. And I have Will Ospreay doing this little interview talking about Triple H, the man who is running the #1 sports entertainment pro wrestling company in the world.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the people who are starting arguments and the people that are yelling are the people that can't get into the club. That's what it looks like.
It's a fair assumption.
When Julia signs with WWE, the reports come out, AEW wasn't really interested in giving her a lot of money. They didn't really have a lot of interest in her to begin with, right?
Yeah.
When Will Ospreay signs with AEW, WWE got outbid. WWE was trash. WWE was this. WWE was that. The narratives are very different. They're very different here. And what I look at with Will Ospreay is you are a premium signing. And you should be the number one guy in AEW.
You're the leader.
In that locker room, you should be the number one. Kenny Omega's gone. You should step up in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And that promo did nothing for him. You know what it did? It alienated his audience, because now there's people on social media saying, bro, shut the fuck up. And that's sad, because any person who watches Will Ospreay, respects Will Ospreay, knows that Will Ospreay on TV could be maximized a lot better than wasting time for this type of promo.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
Absolutely crazy.
It is insane when you really break it down, because, again, I think you said it best, it alienated him. And I hate seeing that for him. Somebody who has been so special and is such a good pro wrestler. Again, feeding into the internet bullshit. There you go again.
I say this all the time. I've said it for years. Pull the sound bites. I swear to God. How many times do I have to say this before it becomes fucking real life reality? Like, it is becoming reality. You start targeting the wrong audience and people start getting tired of your shit and they're done. The thing is, you know what it really comes down to? It's the negativity aspect.
Absolutely.
So there's this spectrum of people who are AEW fans and wrestling fans.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's WWE fans, right? Yep. So I'm sorry. So AEW fans, WWE fans, wrestling fans are in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are WWE fans, if they don't watch AEW, they're staying right here on the spectrum. If you're a wrestling fan and you just like all wrestling, right? You're not one or the other. If you're in the middle, you see a promo like that, you start inching away from it. Yeah. And you're like, nope, I'm getting tired of this.
Because this isn't my pro wrestling. This isn't
because
what I
this
like.
Is the company that was telling you for years, watch your wrestling. Enjoy the wrestling you want to watch. How quickly did people forget about this? And now they're basically telling you, you fucking suck for watching the other shit.
Yeah, which is crazy.
My whole point with the Triple H taking shots, Pat McAfee taking shots, I think it is so incredibly, earned. I do. I think it is earned. I actually told people before, I'm like, hey, AEW, when you take shots, I don't mind it. I said in the past, I'm like, I don't mind it. But right now, you're fighting for positive coverage on your show right now. You're clawing for positive coverage on your show.
And it's killing them that Dave Meltzer isn't going to be able to cut it this time. Sorry.
Well, nobody else is going to be able to cut it. You got to fucking bring the right product.
There you
go. The point that I'm trying to make, though, is that with Will Ospreay's promo here, remember when I said AEW is not focused? Yeah. AEW isn't focused on putting the best possible product forward. Mm-hmm. AEW's got WWE's head up their ass so much that literally the stuff that is literally that's coming out of their mouth is 2019 WWE garbage shit. Mm-hmm. That's literally how bad it's gotten. That, like, let me make it very clear. They are unfocused and they are sitting here. They're wasting their fucking television time talking about WWE and Triple H's comments at WWE World. On the Pat McAfee show, I am more worried about those comments
not
than
even
making Will Ospreay come across.
Not even some shit that happened on TV. It wasn't even shit that happened on TV that they used their TV time to talk about. Yeah, that pissed me off. Sorry.
To me, it didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. And we're talking about a company that has a 2-hour TV show that has a hard time getting a roster utilized. And that's how they're using TV. It's like, and then AEW fans that are extremists, that are, hardcore as hell, they get very in their feelings when Triple H makes these comments. The best thing in the world, actually, and I say this all the time, it's like, you really, really want to be more effective at talking shit, stay silent.
Absolutely.
Show them that you don't give a fuck about them. Show them that they're not even worth your time, your energy, your attention.
Mm-hmm. That's how you do it.
Is that a hot take, ladies and gentlemen? Is that a hot take? Billy, is that a hot take? Because I think it's very reasonable.
Let me find out that's a hot take. No, that's very reasonable.
Oh, I see it on Twitter. Like, what is AEW supposed to do? They're supposed to just sit there and take it? You know what I would do if I was Tony Khan? I would shut the fuck. I would have everybody shut the fuck up by how good of a TV show I'm going to book.
Yeah. You ready for this? Dynasty's coming up. Let's build the dynasty. Yeah. You got Will Ospreay wrestling, Bryan Danielson. You got FTR versus the Young Bucks. You got Swerve and Samoa Joe. Those are 3 ginormous matches. Tell me a good story about them.
I think I think it's not even just about the stories and the matches. I think it's the perception.
Absolutely.
The reality is perception is everything. And I think for AEW, they are building a perception about their company that is insecure, that is difficult to stand behind and support.
Yeah.
And I think, it's like, this is the truth. You're going to have a lot of people have disingenuous conversations online and podcasts about ratings and where all this fits with ratings and attendance and stuff like that. But what I'm looking at is actually not measurable. What I'm looking at is a feeling that can't be measured by numbers. So, for example, when I see this AEW All In footage and I see Ospreay being here, I'm looking at a company that's not really building dynasty for me. I'm looking at a company that's not really creating compelling TV by doing that. And therefore, that feeling that I start to feel now is if they're not interested in their own product to give me something good, I can't be interested. And by the way, the feeling changed like this. Why? Because I saw Samoa Joe get speared through a table from Swerve.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. Adam Copeland versus Penta. Fucking awesome.
Great stuff.
And then everything just changed.
Yep.
You know what's actually really funny too is fucking Mariah May and Mina together, creating a very nice, cute little moment. They have history because of Stardom, and they were there on AEW Dynamite, and that's a feel good moment, and like that's cool and it's awesome, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because the feeling that I now have is sour based on what I'm watching. And look, the reality is, the shit talking doesn't matter. I agree with that. Shit talking doesn't matter.
No.
But again, you're doing it at a time where the feeling is negative, and you're doing it at a time where now it looks like you're insecure, and you're doing it at a time where your audience is being alienated now. And it's very rich that's the feeling you get from watching this when these people are the ones telling me, enjoy your wrestling.
Watch it all. They've said that from the get up.
And again, who's impacted by this?
Again,
fans and the roster.
Yep, I was about to say fans and talent. Fans and talent are the people who are really affected by this, because I'm here to tell you guys at the end of the day, Tony Khan is still going to have billions of dollars.
Of course.
Just here to tell you. So understand that. Look at who's in charge. Blame them.
Just weird, man. Weird. Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson is such an incredible feud to be excited about.
Dude, Will Ospreay makes me happy to watch pro wrestling.
Fucking one of the, honestly, I say he is the best wrestler in the world.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, he's the best wrestler in the world that gets so much shit on social media for his character work. And now I see him I think he's a great character and he's got great character work. And I see him cut this promo and I'm like, bro, the perception of your company right now is not good. It's negative.
You did not need to do this tonight.
The thing is, man, you don't do it ever, because the best way to kill your competition is to literally do it on your TV show. And by the way, AEW is not doing something new here. WWE used to do all these bullshit ass tactics back in the day. But I guarantee you, if WWE was doing that to remain number one, I would look at them and be like, damn, you insecure because of AEW killing it?
Absolutely.
I'd say the same thing.
Absolutely.
The biggest Triple H was very insecure that day. That day when they lost in the ratings and they came out, it's a sprint, not a marathon. When they had, or it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Yeah. When he had that comment, I was like insecure because he got his ass beat. And the thing is, I always thought it was funny because the ratings talk is so dumb and stupid. And I always used to say, Triple H, you guys don't even publicly talk about ratings on Twitter and all this stuff. So why are you even talking? Like, that's how I used to think. Why are you even talking about this publicly? You're making it about ratings. If you shut the fuck up and don't make it about ratings, then it doesn't matter, right?
Right, exactly. See, I see people in the chat and stuff, and they're talking about, WWE crybabies, blah, blah, blah. I see it all in the chat, right? But what they don't realize is, yes, we are sitting here and WWE sound, I don't even know how they sound better, but I guess you can take it how you want. They do sound better in this scenario, but they don't realize, these same people saying this do not realize that I will be the first, I can imagine Ango would also be the first, to sit up and tell people that, hey, WWE is acting sour. No, this is just AEW is insecure. We got a super chat earlier that said it, and it made perfect sense. This is a company that is insecure. It is a man who is insecure.
It's the key word. Andre Benson dropped a $5 super chat. I said on your Twitter X, AEW just put Punk over and gave Drew McIntyre an entire month's worth of content to talk about in his promos. LOL. You know what's actually really funny about this too, Billy? I kind of want to point this out.
Yeah.
Is that not only on social media where people where the videos coming out of CM Punk chants, but when CM Punk responded on Instagram, people that don't even like CM Punk start responding, being like, damn, this was a fucking great response.
Dude.
So not only did they get him over in the Drew McIntyre thing, but now people who aren't even fans of Punk are coming out publicly saying, yo, that was fucking hilarious.
Dude. It is insane to think. Like, imagine just handing this over to WWE and being like, yeah, here you go. That's really what it feels like. I'm so sorry, but it does. It feels like they just handed it over to him. And now we're going to get some good Monday Night Raw TV.
I mean, literally, if I were WWE, I would fake a backstage segment with Punk.
Did you talk about Grayson Waller?
Oh, no, I didn't. So that's actually Grayson Waller's tweet. Let me see if I can. Let me see how I do this.
So for context, Grayson Waller tweeted something out earlier in reference of everything that was happening tonight. He tweeted it before the show. I'll let Ango read the tweet. It was hilarious. I thought it was funny. And Dijak actually had something to comment back to him.
Yeah. So for those, hopefully you guys could see the screen. Grayson Waller says, later today, I'm going to share exclusive security camera footage of myself in theory beating up the entire WWE locker room backstage. It's time the world knows how tough the SmackDown tag champs really are. And that brought a response from Dijak. It's true. I saw it. There was real glass everywhere.
The real glass shit.
367,000 views, and Grayson Waller's tweet had 1.5 million views. So just goes to show you.
It's probably the number that he did. Sorry, I'm not going to say it.
You know, it's funny, though, because people will bring up ratings and they'll talk about that. But deep down inside, I think the big thing here is it's not even so much about ratings. Even if they get a good rating, I would be very curious to know what the rating is after that segment. And that's worrisome if people drop off.
I know I did. I turned it off.
I know a lot of people did.
I'm here to tell you, I turned it off after that.
Crazy. Andre Benson, thank you for the super chat, dog. Appreciate you. Richard Cohen dropping $5 super chat. Tell Tony Khan to take his brains out of the cookie jar.
Tony Khan, take your brains out the cookie jar.
Yeah, I think what I want to tell Tony Khan, I think I already made it very, very clear with my statement earlier. Tony Khan, I think, needs to step up and be a leader and understand that when you make your content and your show all about ratings and you do things like this, you stoop to this level to get ratings. I think one thing he needs to understand is that he's already lost. He's lost the battle. When you're that desperate, you have to do something like this. When you're doing good TV. Now, it would be different if AEW's television show this year sucked. It would be very, very different.
And you just needed that ratings pop.
The 2024 has been so good to them in terms of creative. Like 2023 seems like 10 years ago with how good AEW has been this year.
Oh, yeah.
They have some really good stuff, and I'm so excited. And, you know, like Swerve might be the first African-American champion for AEW. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who would rather be talking about that.
Yeah, because
you have Mercedes coming in and having a feud with Julia Hart for the TBS championship. You would probably prefer people to be talking about that. Not this.
No.
Not the footage. Not CM Punk.
No, that guy's in a whole different company. Let him be.
And then it's like the Will Ospreay thing. Like if I was Tony Khan, and then you got FTR doing this pro AEW promo, and you know last week it was Edge doing the whole thing with
the hoorah.
Yeah, you know it's like, man, you're really showing us some desperate ass stuff. You're really showing us that the boat actually is really rocked right now, and I think
That's a really good reference. The boat is rocked. The ship is sinking.
Cedric says, which promo was worse, Adam Copeland or Will Ospreay? You know, and that to me is the funniest part about this all, right? Is Adam Copeland's promo last week is it's about the CM Punk comments, and it's like it's a response to all of this stuff. Where it's like just like, hey, we are AEW and we're pro AEW, and this is why I came here and we love it and stuff. And Will Ospreay's promo is like, well, fuck Triple H. And the thing is, the problem with both of those promos is when you show us that, you're telling us that there is something wrong. And I feel bad for Adam Copeland because he's not the right messenger in that situation.
No, that is the wrong guy because he left WWE on good terms.
He left WWE on good terms, exactly. And he really went to AEW because he got paid a lot and he gets to work a lot, and that's cool.
And he's wrestling. He's having fun wrestling.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. But Adam Copeland's also not been a draw for AEW.
He didn't change it.
That's not a hot take. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
And it's hard when WWE owns your name, you know. And I think when I see the Ospreay promo and FTR's promo tonight, and I see this stuff, I'm like, wow, this is not the same company that I've been enjoying. And it's why get away from the stuff that you're doing good to worry about WWE? Because you're insecure.
That's it too. Just insecure.
Insecure. And CM Punk is right. Tony Khan will put money into it until he no longer wants to put money into it. Exactly. Tony Khan could afford it for a very long time. And
whether he profits or not.
You know, the thing, you know what's actually surprising to me? They've only been around for 5 years and they have all this drama and negativity surrounding their company. Like, usually you're going to have growing pains, but I feel like these pains are far more than just growing pains.
They're hurting. They are hurting.
Weird, dude.
Yeah, you got weird. Bruises. Those are bruises.
Crazy. Richard Cohn, thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate it. We are all caught up on the super chats. Wow, man. Just
it's even hard to talk about like the things that happened on the show because there were some good things, but
no, I'm telling you right now, everything that was good was in the beginning.
It was overshadowed, dude.
Everything's overshadowed. So keep that in mind. People are talking more about the negative stuff than the positive stuff. So if you're AEW and you're wondering why, it's because the good stuff
doesn't matter in this scenario.
Yeah. And absolutely. I know some people will not be happy with me talking about this for over an hour and a half being negative, but the reality is
you just want to see him do well.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for much.
No, just put on.
Stop paying attention to the competition. And then the best part is, man, imagine this. WWE is going to Netflix.
Man.
WWE SmackDown's moving to USA.
Yes, sir.
I'm not a ratings guy. I do not give a flying fuck about ratings. But let's just say this. Let's say AEW goes a full year without mentioning WWE. Not worried about WWE. Not worried about popping ratings. They're just worried specifically on what they've been doing in the beginning of 2024, which was putting on good matches and good storylines.
Yep.
Imagine if AEW did that for an entire year without being worried about WWE.
Man, they'd probably do so well.
It would probably be a fucking awesome episode of when Tony Khan could go live on TV. And then you really want to shoot your shot at WWE? Say, fuck you, WWE. We just did more ratings than WWE Raw.
Yep.
You beat WWE Raw.
Yep.
You can't beat WWE Raw when you're too focused on WWE. Triple H comments at a fucking press TV show.
Oh, hell. You can't.
But that's what I would do. That's me. But again, what do I know? Maybe I'm completely wrong. Hey, there's a good chance, Billy, I'm wrong. I'm not a billionaire.
I was about to say you could be. We could both be wrong.
Maybe the right approach is to say fuck WWE so many goddamn times that you just manifest WWE's death and then by default you win.
Tony Khan will know that here soon when he sees his numbers, and I'm not talking about ratings numbers. I'm talking about pocket wise.
At the end of the day, it's not my company. I'm not the billionaire putting money into it. But I do think at the end of the day, Tony Khan has a responsibility to put on a good product. and he's been putting on a good product. And the rest of the show probably would have been considered good if they didn't have clouds of negativity surrounding it. But these aren't clouds of negativity that we created. We didn't do this. This was their decision and stuff like that. But I think WWE, you know, when WWE had Cody Rhodes finish a story, there was like this camaraderie of like people being excited. Hey, it's a new era. We're going to listen to our fans. We're going to take you for a wild ride. We're going to make you happy, right? And people are watching the shows, and you see John Cena and R-Truth feel good moment, and it's whatever. And it's like, it's not like WWE just put together the greatest book show in the world, but what they did was they created this energy that was a positive feeling for everybody who watches their product. And what AEW did tonight was actually the opposite.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that people need to understand.
Yeah, man. I don't know how AEW bounces back from this, though. I really don't.
Are they dead? No, but it's gonna be it's gonna be
cold for a little bit. I'll tell you that. I will tell you 100%. I'll watch Dynasty, but it's not gonna be out of my own free will.
I can tell you guys right now. Oh, hold on. Oh, Ariel Helwani. He came out. So let me just throw this on the screen really quick.
Do you think?
Okay, cool. I need to pause that. I don't want to get copyright strike.
Yeah, no.
But he came out with the tweet. Ariel Helwani came out with the tweet, and he says, not very nice. Some lawyer out of Jacksonville got my account locked momentarily and DMCA'd the video I posted, which contained CCTV and interview footage from my show. Just felt like the CCTV needed some narration, you know? Anyway, here's Punk, seemingly very accurate. Yeah.
Ariel Helwani has backed AEW on numerous occasions.
So in regards, there was a super chat earlier about the copyright strikes. Ariel Helwani was affected by it. You know, and here's the thing, they have the right to do that. That's completely fine if they want, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was their choice to put it out there.
Yeah,
it was what they wanted. They were hoping to embarrass CM Punk. And I will say, not just to be honest, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Ariel Helwani, like in the past week, he has been fighting to get people to speak negatively about AEW. He's been doing all these interviews. He interviewed Josh Barnett. He's trying to get people reaching.
My guy has been trying.
He's been trying, and that's his own thing, and that's his, you know, whether I agree with it or disagree with it doesn't really matter.
My thing is I've seen him back AEW in that same light.
Yeah.
He does the journalism thing. Maybe he does it a little tough, but, you know.
All I'm saying is with Ariel Helwani, he's not a friend of mine. He's not a colleague of mine. He's not somebody I know on a personal level.
So there's no biased opinion.
Yeah, how he covers is up to him. That's up to him to decide. I don't really care. But as far as the copyright stuff, I think they were hoping to embarrass CM Punk, and instead they embarrassed themselves in the process,
which we all knew it would.
Just as I said in the title of this video. So, yeah, to me, it's unfortunate. I did see somebody bring up in the chat. They're like, "Oh, AEW isn't slick for booking." I can't find the fucking actual message, but it was like AEW isn't slick for booking a Samoan versus a Rhodes in the main event.
Listen, dude. I seen that shit. I wanted to talk about it, but yeah, I mean, it is insane that you have.
See, I don't mind that though.
It's funny shit. It's funny shit.
I think, personally speaking, I love Dustin Rhodes in AEW.
Oh, absolutely. He's like the counter opposite of everything that they are.
The greatest match in AEW history, though, is Cody versus Dustin, and nobody could ever change my mind.
Double or Nothing. 2000.
I was there, baby. I was there.
That was a special match.
One of my favorites of all time.
Yeah. The storytelling through that was insane.
And I said this at WrestleMania night too. I said, Cody and Roman 2 takes Cody and Dustin as one of my favorite matches of all time.
Wow.
So imagine one of my favorite matches of all time as one of the first few matches that actually ever happened in a company.
But it speaks volumes about Cody.
Speaks volumes about Cody and Dustin and what they were able to accomplish. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I saw the comment in the chat. I don't know who posted it, but I thought it was funny because I'm like, oh, Samoa Joe versus Dustin Rhodes. I get it. The final boss versus the American Nightmare.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think with that being said, I don't really have too much to say. I mean, again, just disappointed in tonight's episode. I really feel like it's going to go down as the worst episode in the company's history.
Absolutely.
I look forward to seeing what Cage Match says. But you know, all I know is I watched that video and I felt like my life was in serious danger, man. So
dude, it was really bad. I was fighting for my life. What? Crazy, dude.
Who knew that it would ever come out?
Dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude. It was the little jump for me where I knew. I was like, oh, Tony feared. Tony feared for his life.
Now, as far as that goes, we didn't see the whole footage. They could have cut it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what they showed there was nothing that showed me DK's life was in danger. I'm not saying it didn't happen because...
And he could have feared, you know, you never know what some person is scared of or what they're not. You can't.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
no.
Crazy.
That's all I got.
So crazy, bro. It's 2024 and this is the bullshit that we're seeing firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen. Listen, I'm alive for this. I cover this, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't cover Vince in the 90s. Obviously, I didn't cover Vince in the
witnessing. We're witnessing this.
I didn't see Vince and Bret Hart in real time, you know. But for me, when I see this, I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
And then disappointed. And then ultimately sad because there's a lot of people in that company that we should be talking about how great they are and the great matches that they're having, but they have this being the casting a dark shadow on them. And I hate that.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I think it's the perfect time to call a stream.
Can I say one thing before the stream ends?
Sure.
Just permission.
Yeah, actually, really quick before you do that, while Billy is doing this, if you guys have any last minute super chats, get them in now, so that way I'm not like responding to you guys after the stream because sometimes that happens. So do that in the middle or do that in the meantime. Billy, go ahead.
All right. So I just want to say I've seen you guys in the chat, and I just wanted to come on here. Number one, Ango, thank you so much. Thank you so much for welcoming me back to the show, guys. Had some personal things going on. That's it. I want to say thank you guys for welcoming me back with open arms. It means the world to me. And yes, guys, I am back. I will be back on YouTube starting tomorrow. So if you guys would like, come on over, come hang out. I know a lot of you guys came from Ango's channel in the first place. So I felt like I should be the first to mention and just say thank you. Thank you, everybody, for reaching out and all those things.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I told everybody what I knew at the time, which was just schedules not matching up.
Yep.
And I could already tell you guys, no matter what, our schedules will probably not match up consistently every time. Right. But whenever we could have conversations and go live, we absolutely will. And we'll obviously bring more people onto the channel.
Yep.
And different people and this and that, whatever. But it's all about having the tough conversations. And this is one that is not fun to have, obviously.
No.
Hopefully the next one is much more positive, but
hopefully,
yeah,
we can hope.
If you guys are not subscribed to Billy, go ahead and check him out. If he ain't staying consistent though, y'all got to let me know.
Yeah. So you guys let Ango know if I'm not, he'll come back, he'll yell at me, and then I'll have to come to you guys and yell at you.
We'll do it on stream though. We'll yell at him on stream.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we could call it a night. Thank y'all for stopping by. Super chats, new really quick. The membership thing, dude. Billy, the other night, Conman 167, he's a content creator.
Yeah, I know Conman.
Yeah. So he did a prediction contest with a whole bunch of content creators and streamers.
Yes, I seen that you won that.
I won. I predicted everything but one prediction wrong. And I ended up winning.
Okay.
He gifted 100 new members to the
No
channel.
way.
Now, one thing that's very interesting about gifted memberships is that, not everybody's obviously going to sign up again or whatever.
Right, exactly.
But that was just a few days ago, right?
Yeah.
Dude, there's been 20 or 30 people who actually upgraded their membership from the cheapest one to the most expensive one.
No way. From that?
Yes.
Wow.
So I don't know the exact names, but I see a lot of new names in the chat with the membership logo.
I will say, obviously it's been some time since I've been around, but I've seen a lot of new people in here.
Yeah, with the memberships, guys. I just want to say thank you for upgrading your membership. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. And then with that being said, we will call it a night. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ango Show, AEW Dynamite post show. May you all have a blessed night, and I will see you next time.